Hey everyone, this is Benson Simmons, creator of Master Your Audition, the breakthrough 90-minute audition video that's available still for a limited time. It's only $14.99. I'm going to be raising it up to $19.99 very shortly. So get on the opportunity now to get it for $14.99. Also, you can go to the website, masteryouraudition.com. Check out that video, and also check the new marketing handbook that is causing a lot of actors to have huge breakthroughs in their careers, called Power Up Your Acting Career. All at my website at masteryouraudition.com. Now, this is part two in the series of sexual chemistry. So what we were talking about is that any actor, to be successful, has to be comfortable with their sexuality and comfortable with generating organic, real sexual chemistry with their scene partner. So the first level we talked about is like you don't use a substitution. You cannot substitute somebody else who's hot for the person you're reading with. You cannot do that. You need to use the real person that you're reading with, whether it's a reader in audition, the casting director, someone that you're shooting with on set. And how you do that, if you don't feel that initially with them, is you start to fantasize. We talked about that. Going into your deepest, darkest, juiciest sexual fantasy and projecting that that person you're reading with or being on set with or auditioning with will do that kinky fantasy to you or with you, and that already will change your thinking. Now, the next thing that a part of this in sexual chemistry is that another thing to realize is that when you are going into a moment of Say it's a scene, and it's two lawyers and you're talking about the case and you're saying, yes, well, I don't know about this case here. I don't think that it's that great. And then you check her out. And then suddenly what you'll notice is with sexual chemistry and seduction, it cannot continue to be going really, really fast. You can't be seductive and go, you can't do that. Like if we were doing, say I was reading something and saying, yeah, this report, I don't know about this. I think that we need to correct this part right here. And you might want to, you might want to take a look at this, this section here. See what I just did? I don't know whether it read well or not, but see what I just did is you cannot do seduction fast. You just can't do it. So what I'm sharing with you is the tip number 2, aside from sexual fantasy, etc., is a physical thing, which generally comes from thinking the thoughts, but this helps you too. There's a slowing down when it comes into seduction. There's a slowing down, a kind of liquid feeling in your body that it's just a slowing down. You can't you can't go into that mode and be super fast. It just doesn't work. So remember to kind of slow it down. Now, why do you slow it down? Because in seduction, this is point number 1.5 or 2.5, you never want it to be obvious. So you can't, it's not a seduction if it's obvious. So one of the ways the reason why you slow down is because when you slow down your internal tempo rhythm, right? You're able to take things in more. So part of seduction is being sensual, right? It's starting to feel things. It's starting to feel just if you rub your fingers along the table or whatever, even just the fingers on the computer, right? It's suddenly taking the time to feel that sensuality. And as soon as you do that, then you might have a moment where you're talking to somebody and you just start to, say, we could meet later and go over that if you want. And suddenly when I'm just touching my chin or whatever, thinking about the other person, there's a sensuality there. I'm taking the time to slow down and think about that person. So even if I were to, talk to her, and women do this all the time in so many amazing ways, but if I were to just say the action is to seductively fix this Well, actually, probably it's more seductive to open it. But say, okay, say I've got this right here done up, right? And my action is to undo the buttons. Now, I'm not going to be seductive if I go, yeah, well, I mean, it might be if it's a scene and you're ripping each other's clothes off, right? But that's not the point we're talking about. We're talking about generating the sexual chemistry. So what I would do is I would, number one, as we learned in the first one, right, we start to think of a sexual fantasy with somebody who would do that kinky, dark thing. And then, as I'm thinking about it, I'm just slowing down and feeling what it's like to feel the fabric, feel the buttons as I'm taking the time to whatever I'm doing, whether I have lines or whether it's just in the behavior. And then, okay, so that's it. So I'm going to slip out of that now. So that is that slowing down in the internal rhythm that happens with seduction. And with the slowing down comes the sensuality, which you can practice. Anything that heightens your senses will help you get that sexual feeling, which will help you generate that feeling and make the other person want you. So that is tip number 2, which is having that slower tempo rhythm, which generally comes with having the sexual fantasies. But start with the fantasies. Be aware to slow down and think sensually. Slow down and just things, the way things smell, the way things touch. That will increase the sexual energy, which will get the other person turned on. So where do you find more about that in depth? On my 90-minute breakthrough audition video, which is called Master Your Audition. That's www.masteryouraudition.com. Also, you can check out the marketing handbook, Power Up Your Acting Career. So have a great audition.